The U.S. Supreme Court made a ruling on elections on July 1st, which is believed to have a far-reaching impact. What was it?
On the day of America's 245th birthday, do you know everything about Independence Day? Let's find out.
Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei.
I'm Kathy.
First, we need to say happy holiday, right?
Right.
Happy July 4th.
July 4th.
Yeah, I think we have the holidays ahead of us. It's getting started. I don't know what you would do. Wish you, whatever you do, I wish you have a very, very happy July 4th. And so today, we'll first bring you two pieces of news. And then after that, we're going to talk about Independence Day itself. Okay, Kathy. So Supreme Court indeed made a ruling yesterday morning, right?
Right, on July 1st.
Some people are very happy. Some people are really, really feel upset. So what is it?
So the Supreme Court ruled by 6 versus 3, voted that it's about the Arizona's two cases. It's a combined case. It verdict that Arizona's HB 2023, which banning ballot harvesting, does not violate the Federal Voting Rights Act. Also, the policy that outlawing the out-of-precinct voting also is lawful. So this case, the verdict is regarded as a nationwide example, could have a far-reaching effect, especially as many other states try to pass voter integrity laws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds a little complicated. Can you elaborate? So what exactly does that ruling mean?
Okay, so this case actually combines two cases.
Mm-hmm.
One is, it's all from Arizona. One is Arizona Republican Party versus DNC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, the Democratic National Committee. Second one is the Arizona Attorney General Bromwich versus Democratic National Committee. So the Supreme Court combined these two cases together. So there are mainly two issues they try to decide on.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is about the election day voting and the early mail-in voting. So in Arizona, it was required that the voters who choose to vote in person on election day in a county, they have to vote in their assigned precinct. If they vote outside of the precinct, the ballot won't be counted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first issue. Second issue is for those who choose to vote early vote by mail, Arizona requires that only the electors may be in possession of his or her early ballot. Because in the state in 2016, it actually enacted a bill, which is HB 2023, makes it a crime for any person other than a postal worker or election officer or a voter's caregiver, family member, or household member to knowingly collect an early ballot,
mm-hmm.
whether it's before or after the ballot is being completed. So for these two issues, the Democratic National Committee opposed both, arguing that the provisions violated the 1965 Voting Rights Act. So early on, the Ninth Circuit Appellate Court already verdict that they agree with the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
So it was appealed to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court, they decided to hear the case
mm-hmm.
last October. So this March, they had a teleconference to, hear the case. So yesterday, on the June 1st, the verdict is delivered. So it was voted 6 versus 3. Justice Alito, who wrote for the majority, and was joined by the Chief Justice Roberts, Justice Thomas, Gorsuch, Barrett, and the Kavanaugh. So the other 3 liberal-leaning judge, they agree with the law of Arizona should be overturned. They are Justice Kagan, who wrote the dissent, and plus Justice Breyer and Sotomayor. So why? What's the reasoning by the majority of the judges? So Judge Alito wrote in his opinion, saying that Arizona voting law generally actually make it easier to vote, but they did impose some two restrictions. So he said, one strong and entirely legitimate state interest is the prevention of fraud. Yeah, we can see it on the screen if we can post that. And he said fraud can affect the outcome of a close election, and fraudulent votes dilute the rights of citizens to cast ballots that carry appropriate weight. He further wrote that fraud can also undermine public confidence in the fairness of the elections and perceived legitimacy of the announced outcome, ensuring that every vote is cast freely without intimidation or undue influence is also a valid and important state interest. He wrote, the interest helped to spur the adoption of what soon become the standard practice in this country, in the United States, and the other democratic nations around the world, the use of private voting booths. Then how he addressed the second issue is whether those restrictions are racially discriminatory. So he wrote, let's take a look. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act provides vital protection against discriminatory voting rules, and no one suggests that discrimination in voting has been extirpated. Wow, it's very literal, or that the threat has been eliminated. But he wrote, the Section 2 does not deprive the state of their authority to establish non-discriminatory voting rules, and that is precisely what the dissent's radical interpretation would mean in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he defeated, rejected the dissent's argument. So this verdict came actually, after another case was submitted just a week later, which is the Department of Justice sued the state of Georgia against its voting rights law. So it was, regarded this verdict could have very strong impact on that case, because there's a key phrase that Justice Alito used. He said the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act does not deprive the states of their authority to establish non-discriminatory voting rules.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he said this, it is the states' rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and also, there's a very new poll just came out by the NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll. Largely, it's saying that actually how the United States citizens view this voter identification requirement. Actually, nearly 80% favor voter identification.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take just a quick look of the data. So among those, so the question is, should the voters show government-issued ID when they vote, right? So Republicans, 94% say yes. Only 5% no.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats, 57% yes. 39%
that's
no.
past the the majority.
Right, and the independents also pretty high. 83% say yes.
Okay,
and the next set of data is very interesting for the whites. 70% white voters say yes, 20 no, and non-white voters, 81%, even higher percentages say yes, and 17% no. If we, follow the rhetoric of those radical lefts saying that the white supremacists are, using those laws, voting laws, to discriminate minority voters, this data actually shows the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah. So a little surprise to the notions that we used to have. And so another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is about the media. Okay, the media, as you may have known that the major cable news media, their ratings dropped big, in the big way. And then according to Nielsen, this is reported by the Fox, and compared to the same month of last year, during the prime time, Fox has 2.13 million viewers. MSNBC has like 1.3 million, and the CNN only have 800,000. And then compared to last year, Fox dropped, the rating dropped 42%, MSNBC 36%, CNN dropped 57%. For the people, the prime targeted audience, 25 through 54-year-old, Fox have a audience drop 50%, and CNN 68%. Pretty much the 70% of the people are gone. So it's quite big.
Yeah, that reminds me of how CNN reported the centennial anniversary celebration of the Chinese Communist Party yesterday. And it's just, I saw a clip of it. Is they had a Hong Kong reporter, who's with CNN, just basically is just delivering what the Chinese Communist government is talking about their celebration.
Yeah.
And there are comments saying that CNN stands for Communist News Network. CNN.
Yeah, or they call it, because during this report, CNN pretty much said Xi Jinping is the real star of the celebration, while ABC News tweeted out a story about the CCP's anniversary with this caption, "Party time." So quite positive, okay? And then CNN was also marked as Xi Jinping, right? CNN.
Oh.
Xi Jinping's news network, okay, CNN. Okay, that's not the most, shocking news. Let me read you this. Reuters recently, Reuters have a news institute. Recently, they issued an annual digital news report. Okay, they surveyed the member of public in the 46 countries, and how much trust, what is the trust level of their domestic media? All right, so among all these 46 countries, Kathy, have a guess. What's the rating of the U.S.? What's the ranking of U.S.? Most trustworthy. Trustworthy.
I don't know. I don't know the exact number, but I think it actually was tanking.
Can you guess? Folks, can you just type up here? From 1 to 46. What is the ranking of the U.S. in this Reuters survey?
Okay, I would say 30.
30, lower than average. Okay, what about other folks? I just give a guess. Just give a whatever guess, a wild guess, the best effort guess. How would the U.S. rating? Because you guys, you watch or don't watch, you have an opinion there. Okay, so I haven't. All right, I cannot hold on anymore. Let me tell you, U.S. ranked at the bottom. 46th.
Oh, really? I was overestimated.
It is that bad, okay?
Oh, Kathy Green was at 22.
22,
and
all
Nick Adams said 40. It's closer to the answer.
Oh my God, it's 46. Only 29% of the surveyed Americans show that they still have confidence in the media. In other words, 71% don't. So what do you think? Do you think that's an accurate survey? And
we had a 44, 25, 46. Actually.
Nick Adam, you are close.
Yeah.
And Tanik T, you're exactly right. This is really.
Mark said 45th.
It's a shame, right, guys? I came from China, all right? U.S. journalism was regarded as the top of the line. Of course, is at the top of the world. Now it's at the bottom, and to see how much service our media are doing to themselves. And at this particular time, I would say this is a free market, right? When somebody mess up, some other people come in and fill in. Hopefully we'll be one of those who come in and fill this void, right? and establish really trustworthy media, and for American and for the world. All right, let's move on. So today's 2 days before Independence Day.
Right.
How about let's talk about Independence Day. I think today people, you should feel. What do you think? Feel light spirited, feel happy, feel relaxed. Okay, let's talk about Independence Day, because this morning I interviewed Professor Paul Skolson, whose father wrote the Naked Communism, and he wrote the Naked Socialism. Great book. I got a few books that I have to read. Anyway, I just interviewed him. I just convey some key point to you. First, I did some research about Independence Day. Okay, every year I do program on this, and for some reason this year I found out something new. Maybe you already know this. Let me still just go through this quickly. If you already know that, just type up something. Type up, say I know it, because I do want to know. First, the Independence Day, the National Day, right? Is the Independence Day. As a matter of fact, the Independence Day shall be today, shall be July 2nd, not July 4th.
Why is that?
And then why is that? Because on the July 2nd of the 1776, the Second Continental Congress, indeed, they passed this resolution to declare independence from the England. All right. However, okay, on that night, John Adams was so happy, right? He wrote to his wife, Abigail. He said, this is the historical date of in the history of America, and we will. Let me just type up here his word. He said, from now on, we shall have the pomp and the parade. We should have the shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires. I think bonfires now turn into barbecue fire. How about that?
Okay.
And illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, and from this time forward forevermore. What he said exactly turned to be right. Okay, so for 245 years, the Independence Day has been marked with the firework, a parade, and barbecue, and and the parade, and concert, things like that. So John Adams was only wrong by 2 days. Okay, he thought it's July 2nd. It is July 4th. The very reason is because the Continental Congress was still waiting for the finalization of the Declaration of Independence, which they assigned they assigned the task of writing that one to a committee of 5. Okay, and one of them is Thomas Jefferson. They gave him 17 days to write it, and Thomas Jefferson was just in a small rented hotel room nearby near the steakhouse. He does not have any reference book and so on. He was not prepared. All right, so what he got by his hand is only the Declaration of the the independence of Virginia, and the Virginia Constitution, because he was from Virginia. And by the way, those 2 pieces of work he wrote them himself. So basically, he got nothing to quote from, to borrow from, and he wrote the Declaration, the stunning, Declaration of Independence, in 1 to 2 days. All right. So in Chinese culture, we said that 文章本天成，妙手偶得之. Okay, a great article. Okay, is actually given by the heaven. You don't just create it. The thought just came to you, and you just write it down. And then that seems to be the case. Anyway, so he came up with that, and then sent it to the Continental Congress on the July 4th. Okay, that's the day. And then actually they look at it, they took something away, took the, I didn't know that, right? They took the part about the condemnation of the slavery, because Jefferson wrote, all men are created equal, right? But they endowed by their creator certain unalienable right, and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that apparently including, black people, all right, and the slaves. So indeed, he put in the language, the terminology, language to condemn the slavery, but, the Continental Congress took it out because there were representatives from the southern, the South Carolina and Georgia who may not be happy, so they may not ended up, passing that. So that was the compromise. They decided to leave that for the future. But other than that, basically most of the writing, the Declaration of Independence, was accepted. And this is also what what I learned, okay, from my interview. And Dr. Skolson told me this. He said, "Do you know that there's difference between our Constitution and the Declaration of Independence?"
What's the difference?
Constitution, if you read it, it's kind of dry. It's not a lot of fun to read. It takes effort and discipline for you to read on and comprehend it. But it's very, very easy to read the Declaration of Independence. I said, okay, yeah, so what's the big deal about that? Then he went on, he said, the Declaration of Independence is really a, it's a statement. It's a statement that expresses the founding fathers' belief, what they believe is right. Okay, their ideals. Okay, and then they talk about there's a God, there's creators, and then the higher beings and the natural right and things like that. Actually, he summarized that there's 13 beliefs in this 1,300 word Declaration of Independence. There's enough mentioning of the God and the high level beings and creator. However, in the entire Constitution, there's no single word of God or creator. And he asked me, have you taken note? I say, really, let me do the search.
Right.
I did it. He's right. There's no mention of God and no mention of creator. It's the same type of people who wrote, Declaration of Independence and who also wrote the Constitution. So why the difference? He said, because they too serve different purposes. Constitution is only meant to create a structure, the mechanism for a nation, for the republic. Okay, it does not mean to express religion's point of view or one's belief or even one's value. It's all very mechanical. It's very it's very methodological, and so the belief system, the values, was embodied in the Declaration of Independence. That is the foundation of the Constitution. And he said, if we forget about that, now he said most people, they already forgot about the value of the Declaration of Independence. Many people view that as ancient document, just like some ancient document of China or ancient, Egypt. They don't know what's the value, but he said that is the foundation underneath the Constitution. And if we don't have that, then we don't have our moral value, our belief system, and then what you got is only the mechanism. And then, for example, he said, at that time, because a constitution only have 4,700 words, okay, it's a very, very concise one, 4 pages, right? It cannot possibly imagine everything that will happen down the road in the future, and then establish laws to guard against that. It cannot, all right? So later there's this, abortion, whether that's legal or not. There's this homosexual issue, transgender, and so on and so forth. They couldn't predict that would become an issue, all right? But if we cut Declaration of Independence off and we only deal with that Constitution, then what would happen? We cannot keep the republic, okay? Without a moral value and anything can happen. That's why, indeed, we legalize abortion and homosexual and same-sex marriage and so on and so forth. But if you respect, if you keep the Declaration of Independence in mind, then you wouldn't know, from the Bible, and that's the source of the wisdom for that statement, right? From the Bible talk about how to view abortion, homosexual, and so on and so forth. Then you wouldn't go there. Because we forget about the root. We forsake the foundation. What we are left with is only a constitution. So that basically that won't work. So he said Constitution and the Declaration of Independence are two things of the one system. Both they go hand in hand. And then we should not forget about that. And that aside, he said there's this Federalist paper, which is very hard to read. 85 of them, right? And 3 people, John Jay and James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton, right? They wrote those 85 papers.
Right.
And then is you have to understand that there's a lot of great idea in that it explained how the founding father, thought over all those issues and it came up with their conclusion. Everything's logical, well thought out, heavy evidence, and so we don't know those things anymore. So Mr. Skousen said we have to go back to our root and learn those things again. He said if we are really committed to something, we cannot help speaking out on those values. What do you think, Kathy?
Right.
Yeah, so I just convey his point of view with you guys, and
I think that's why the founding fathers saying, even though Constitution is a very good system, a good paper, but if it is for the people who has belief in the virtue, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of tells why this, what Professor Skousen said. These two documents go hands in hand.
Yeah.
Right.
And also with the Federalist Papers, so the three things go hand in hand. So actually, we're working on a two series. One is the Chinese language for Chinese American, a video series that elaborate the founding principles, and we'll also try to produce the English one. Anyway, I think that there's no quick path. Okay, we have to go back to our root, and re-educate ourselves and our kids. And also, I asked him, why we got here? He said because our public school, they don't teach them. They don't teach it. So the duty now falls on the shoulder of the individual citizen, on the shoulder of the mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, and that's where the duty is. So
right. Actually, the founding fathers, I think they foresee that, and they emphasize on the importance of learning history. Right? Like Thomas Jefferson, he said once, history, by learning them, understand the past, enables students to judge the future. Right? If we don't learn the past, then they cannot judge the future. And he said it will help them learn from others, the experience of the times and other countries. It gives them the ability to judge human behavior and character. It will enable them to see through the disguise of ambition and then understand and defeat it. In every government, he said, in every government of mankind, there are human weaknesses, traces. The sprouts of corruption and the degeneration will expose their cunning nature, and the evil will be nourished, spread, and clamored unconsciously. So in other words, learning history can really help us to understand what's going on in the reality, the real politics, and also remind us citizens of those the weary of the tyranny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the duty is rested really with us, okay, the common citizen of this country, one person at a time. And so at this July 4th holiday, let's remember not just barbecue, not just a parade or a firework. It's our duty. Okay, so before we end, how about some July 4th jokes?
Oh, okay.
I mainly bring you parrot jokes and common CCP jokes. Now it comes to the July 4th jokes. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, but our DJ, please prepared. Okay. All right. Now there's a 5 or 6 test of Kathy.
Oh.
So what was the most popular dance in 1776?
Popular dance?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Independence.
Independence. Okay.
Right. What kind of tea did the American colonists want? That's easy. Liberty. All right. This is a little hard. What did the little firecracker say to the bigger firecracker?
The little firecracker say to
the little ones. How does the little one say the big one? Well, I'll skip you. It's too hard for you. Hi, Pop. This one shall be really easy for you, Kathy.
Okay.
So, what did the colonists wear to the Boston Tea Party?
What do they wear?
Yeah, when colonists went to the Boston Tea Party, what do they wear?
Look at me.
T-shirt.
Yeah. See? I I got that right.
All right. Okay, this is the final one. All right. A teacher is asking the students, more than 200 years ago, our forefathers defeated the British Army, the entire British Army in the Revolutionary War. Okay. Tom will say, wow, they must be really strong. Only 4 men can defeat the whole army. Okay, that'll be all for today. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Have a great holiday. I'll see you on Monday and take care and yeah, just best wish to all of you.
Yeah. All right. So happy Independence Day. Bye-bye.
Bye.